After a week off, it feels good to be back in the building where it all began, Ohio Studios. Producer extraordinaire Serge Gotti behind the tables making the magic happen. My name is Solomon Davis, and welcome to His, Hers, and Ours. A candid conversation with a real-life couple talking about real-life things. I'm after taking a hiatus last week, getting our thoughts together, recouping, making sure that we're on point. Me and my lovely co-host, Miss Shannon Royal Davis, are now back in the building to give you episode number 3 of His, Hers, and Ours. Miss Royal, how you doing?
It feels very good to be back. I got a lot of stuff to stir up, so I'm excited.
Are you stirring the pot?
Just a little bit, and I'm gonna be like Chef
Curry
Curry in the pots. I'm ready. Let's roll.
Right, well, let's get it going because, I mean, we got to be like the people that we follow here in Champa Bay. Got the band back together.
Absolutely.
Everybody's back.
Yes.
Well, we still waiting on AB, but that's going to happen.
But majority of the pieces are together, and it feels good. It feels good.
So just knowing this marriage, I'm taking the line of Bruce Arians. Your ass ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, I am the orchestrator, though. I'm the Tom Brady. Yeah, I bring everybody in. Everybody wants to be on the team.
That's a off his, hers, and all conversation.
We'll have that later.
So let's jump right into it. I mean, the topic everybody wants to talk about, Mr. Derrick Jaxn.
Absolutely, which is interesting because, you know, I always tell people I don't like to comment on people's marriage, but hey, when it's out there in the open, hey, let's talk about it.
So, I mean, I'm going to let you have first shot. Your thoughts, your opinions?
So, one, I think oftentimes when, you know, you have these platforms, we kind of put ourselves in a space, and sometimes we forget that we are touchable. And I think he had been in a space where he had been bashing men for doing things for so long that it became comfortable to him. He let his guard down, and he got caught with his pants down, literally, in a sense, out there, where I have a bit of a little like moment to feel kind of like his wife in a sense. Mm-hmm. I probably wouldn't have been on screen with him like that. We would have been dealing with that behind closed doors, because while everybody had time to post memes about her and saying what they would and wouldn't do, I think we've all played a fool at some point. And so we've all been in that space. So immediately my heart goes out to her, one, because I understand how it is to be a married woman and to have to deal with infidelity, but to be next to him like he Kobe and she's Vanessa, and they not even in the same look, RIP to the GOAT, but they're in two different tax brackets. I wouldn't dare sit up there. We would have to address that at home, behind closed doors, and he'll get that heat, and he can relay that how he wants to. But I couldn't sit up there on that screen like that.
But from a standpoint as to media icon and being in the public so much, speaking about relationships, I mean, I think that was more so of a, how should I say, an act, so to speak, coming off the Will and Jada red table conversation and the whole entanglement. The way Will stood there after everything went down, you know, that was her playing the Will Smith role.
Well, Will had some pain on his face, and he was letting Jada have it. Like, I can respect him. And then again, they were both in the spotlight together. You never knew his wife. You knew he was married, but you hadn't seen her on Front Street, in the media or on social media talking about, that's my husband, and she wasn't riding out all hard like that. She was behind the scenes. And I think that in the midst of all the drama that has unfolded, I think she could have probably stayed in that place.
Okay. So can I do this? Can I play the I told you so role?
Go ahead.
So let's go, or the bitch I told you so role, as famous on Cover 2 Conversations. But let's rewind back to episode 1. First episode we had of His, Hers, and Ours. I made a statement. I said, if you give a person one shot of cheating and they think they will never get caught, 99% of the people will take that opportunity.
Right, but I don't think that this was in that same arena where she was giving him any type of pass. They were
it wasn't
going
a pass.
They were going.
He never thought he was going to get caught. He thought that, I'm this media limelight. All these black women out here love me. And as long as I keep my dirt under wraps, I'm always going to be on top of the mountain.
Understood.
And so he had the opportunity where he thought, I can do what I want to do. Nobody was ever going to find out. That's what he did.
I think that's a thing that men do. You guys,
men
in general.
Women don't do it?
Wait, I'm not. Let me explain what I'm about to say.
Please do.
So with women, we are very calculated in the way that we do things. We don't necessarily jump out there trying to get in a space where we're going to be filtered with all these different guys and stuff like that. We treat indiscretions almost like filters on Facebook or Instagram.
Okay.
We gonna cover up as much as we need to and keep those lines from ever having to cross, and stop dancing around necessarily topics and titles. We'll dance around them, but we won't sit up there and be on this high horse where we're bashing everybody. I think it's the Wendy Williams effect. Wendy Williams did the same thing. She used to bash everybody about their relationship, and then when hers came to fruition, and it became exposed, you saw how she's now this new person. She doesn't necessarily do so. I mean, she still talks, don't get me wrong, but it was a different approach. Her husband wasn't sitting up there next to her. Her son wasn't up there. She had a husband and a son, and he had these indiscretions and things like that, but you didn't see her trying to put them on a show.
And I get that, but also now let me play devil's advocate, as you know I always love to do.
Go ahead.
All of these women who followed this man for years. Oh, he's giving me advice on how to get this man, or what type of man I should not settle for, or how I should not be treated. You guys put him on this platform. You guys made him a millionaire, buying these books, subscribers on YouTube, made him a social media icon.
So there's no secret. Women are the number one consumers for things that are self-help or self-improve, relationship. That's no secret. So let's not play he found a whole bunch of victims. No,
you voluntarily did it. He wasn't
absolutely.
He wasn't taking advantage of anyone. He put a platform out there. You guys bought it hook, line, and sinker, which dudes have been saying this dude's full of shit for the last 9 years.
But guys say that about everyone. They said the same.
Because we know how it is.
Okay.
And I mean, we got a couple guests in the studio. My brother Reginald Gray, and then also Alfie Santana. Yep. So they all came here especially to chime in on this particular topic.
And we didn't even put it out there to let anybody know what the topic was. So I can appreciate the support.
So, Reg?
No, what I was going to say was I didn't start from day one calling him whatever fake fraud or whatever. I was actually reposting his videos. I liked him. He was giving good advice. I actually liked what he was saying until about a year in. I'm telling all my female friends, yo, you check this guy out.
So you was out here promoting?
Yeah, I was sitting there
you were aiding in the bed.
Yeah, I was.
Go ahead.
I was doing this. I was like, I'm the guy giving your female friends advice, but they don't want to listen to me.
Understand.
So I'm like, okay, see the guy in the car? He's saying what I've been telling you.
Gotcha.
But I noticed about a year in, he wasn't saying nothing positive about dudes.
Nothing.
And then I start noticing he started downing dudes. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I start watching the videos and he's like, not one positive video about a man. Then I'm sitting there thinking, come on, dude. And I'm like, I know a lot of dudes, bro. And you're starting to pump yourself up a little bit too much. And don't throw stones if you live in a glass house. And I know ain't nobody that perfect. But I didn't know Homeboy was married.
See?
He kept that hidden.
Okay.
Well, and that was calculated.
Yes,
because he was doing dirt. He knew that he was going to events. I mean, let's be honest. Let's be real. As a black man, if you're single, or not even if you're single, if you're out there and you're trying to, get around a whole bunch of women, what's the one spot every year that you're gonna make sure that what event you gonna make sure that you have your black ass at?
Super Bowl weekend.
The Essence Festival.
I'm showing my age. I'm like, I know they freak nigga. And right when you said Essence Festival, it came. Okay, I'm old now. Essence Festival.
I mean, so as a black man, you know that this is where all black women are gonna congregate, especially single black women who are taking girls trips with their friends. So if I want to go and try and holler at somebody, that's where I'm going to be. And the fact that this dude is sitting there in the convention center giving relationship advice to all these women, they're looking at him like he's Black Jesus.
I don't understand. I think he made a calculated mistake when you said earlier that he felt invincible. He can't get caught. I think he screwed up brand wise. He screwed up because he should have been giving couple advice, not female advice. It should have been like, "Hey guys, this is your woman. Do this."
Right.
You know, go both ways. But if he was beating dudes up, and I was like sitting back like, "Oh man, he gonna fall. It's coming."
And it comes always the fall from grace comes so swift, and you don't see it, and it's calculated. So in the sense of what I said initially, I wouldn't have been sitting next to him. She hadn't been there the whole time doing any of the interviews or any of the Instagram posts or Facebook posts or any of the things that he had going on. He never acknowledged her.
Yeah, but she ain't know he was in the car.
Okay, but pause for a
I
second.
don't care if he in his car. He could be in the bathroom on the toilet. He better acknowledge the fact that, yeah, my wife and kids home or something. Like, shout me out.
But hold on now. Let's go back once again to episode 1. The whole conversation we had of love versus loyalty. Mm-hmm. She was happy with the fact of how she's being taken care of. Her man is out there. Women love him. All the bills are taken care of. He's shopping.
Time out.
She didn't get any suspicion. No suspicion.
She had to have suspicion.
I'm sure as a woman we have intuition and it's there, so I'm sure she's seen some things. But however, rule number 1 from girl code, like your mom teaches you this, your grandma has taught you this, and I'm sure as men, your mom has mentioned this in some way, shape, or form, that for women, we're never gonna let our husband be around all these women and they don't even know us. Like,
but
know us as a couple or know us. Because most of my friends were my friends alone. And then once we got married, they became our friends.
Yeah.
Like, for the most part. And guys who he knows, they know me when I see them out. It's still the same level. Like, I become their homegirl now, too. Because they know, oh, that's Solomon's girl. Or that's his wife. Whatever. So, my thing is, as a woman, you're married, establish yourself. Like, I don't care what kind of platform he has. He need to acknowledge me at some point. On social media, there are things like before. I didn't have Solomon listed as my husband or anything like that. Because, look at here. I don't know.
Sway?
Yo, don't do that. You don't want to smoke, buddy. Don't do that.
Sway?
So, we're gonna keep it 100. Let's pull out all the curtains, okay? So
And the conversation
there were times when we were dating, and even during marriage, that there have been women who slid in my DM and said, "Oh, yo, sis, get your husband, get your boo," cause he talking to him. Okay, so to keep them from, because the only way they knew that he was tied to me was it was listed as I'm his wife. So I was like, look, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know where you're at in this marriage or where we at in this space. What's going to happen? Let's go ahead and remove that tagline. You can keep yours up. I'm not. I don't want these women.
You had a bonnet?
You had a bonnet on?
No, I ain't had no bonnet. I ain't had no bonnet on. I didn't have a bonnet on, but I wear one at night because everybody knows hair cannot lay this nice without something being tied on it. Anywho, but just to piggyback onto what I was saying, like, I had to untie my notifications with him. But there's not any person out there that said, hey, they didn't get a Facebook notification saying Shannon's not married or Shannon's not in a relationship. Because I don't even like those kind of notifications that come up. If they come up and they say they married now, I love it. But before, while you just dating and you're in a relationship, nah, because I be following your relationship just by those taglines. And I can see when you and Boo ain't happy because all them pictures gone. You single again. Now you back out with everybody.
At the club
No,
with the boys.
right. And you hanging out. Oh, it's good. Life is good. Well, what was happening 3 months ago? So I'm one of those type of people. So even with Solomon and I having separate social medias, we still had access to each other's pages, anything. So people knew who we were. It wasn't like it was a secret. I just chose to kind of distance myself in that space at that time. But for her, I would never let my husband have be the sex symbol or just like without them knowing he got a wife. Hell, Idris Elba is gorgeous. Y'all know he got a whole wife. That lady said she was gonna stay home and get COVID together. She wasn't quarantining without her man, so she was serious. But that just goes to show you that if you don't put that importance on your relationship or make, and I always go back to even episode 1, you have to teach people how to treat you. I don't care what type of lifestyle Solomon moves in. At the end of the day, he's either still a dad. He's gonna always be a dad, but as long as he's married, he's gonna acknowledge that he has a wife.
Right, but my point that I'm trying to make to you is the fact that here she is. I mean, she met him 12, 13 years ago. Little of nothing is what they had. Then all of a sudden he comes up with this idea and it catches fire. Now they go from absolutely nothing at all to being on top of the world. Anywhere she goes, she can write her own ticket. She says, I want to go here. Here's a bag. Do what you do, blah, blah, blah. As long as you let me do what I need to do to take care of business, we going to always be straight. And she had no issues whatsoever. Now, you
Apparently
can't tell
they
me.
did have issues.
Well,
Because when all of this started happening, she had left the home. And they both acknowledged that, honestly. Because as married couple, you go through stuff. And so they maybe took a hiatus. He said he couldn't even get in touch with her with the kids. Homegirl was done, okay?
Okay, but if she was done, why did she come back?
Look.
No one
babe,
needs
You know what he gave
Come
me that
on.
sweet talk. Baby, I ain't never doing this again.
It is not even
It's the
necessarily
role I
that.
had to play, baby.
Y'all forget, women will stay with men, same reason men stay with women. Sometimes it's out of loyalty. Sometimes you don't want to start over. Sometimes you feel like it is something there worth fighting for.
So it was a choice she was making.
It was a choice she made, and I'm not mad at her for
And
choosing
no, I'm not mad at her
That's not
either. But
choice.
I mean, we don't want to we don't want to just put everything out there like she is the absolute victim here because she.
Oh, she absolutely is.
How is she the victim?
In the sense of how
She got treated wrong. Don't get me. I'm not
okay.
saying that. I'm not
Okay.
saying that.
Okay,
But
straight- yeah.
as you said in the videos, and everybody knows now, they've had marriage troubles in the past.
Man, but
she's left. He could not contact her. She was, like you just said, done.
And because he couldn't contact her, he went ahead and did stuff on the
And
side.
so what do y'all do when y'all world start falling apart? You go back to that same rock. That one that's been rocking with you when you didn't have nothing. Who you know she's not necessarily there for the money. He came back to her.
Oh, no,
In regards to when the stuff started
No,
happening.
the point I was trying to make was in one of his videos.
Mm-hmm. He was
said,
yeah.
according to him, he said, even when you're separated,
You
taking
still
a
married.
break,
Yeah.
even if you hook up with somebody, it's still cheating. That's what
Right.
he said out of his mouth.
And he should have lived.
The pastor.
He should have owned that. He gotta own that.
Okay.
He gotta own that. Because even when Solomon and I were dating, and he knows what I told him, I was like, "Yo, you gotta close that chapter. I can't look because I'm not first off and foremost. I tell everybody."
She's Scottie Pippen.
Oh, you almost got me to say that word. Boy, you tried it. I tell everybody I am MJ on whatever team I play on. Not
Wait,
MJ. Look,
So you're not Michael?
I'm MJ.
She's MJ,
I'm
but
MJ.
as Serge would like to say, I'm Phil.
Yeah, whatever.
Scotty was better.
Oh wow! Did y'all not learn anything?
Oh,
from
yeah.
watching.
I mean, I
not
saw what
gonna do
happened.
this. We ain't
Mike
gonna-
retired. They
We ain't
lost
gonna
2
do
more
this.
games. That's it.
We're not gonna even go there.
That's
However,
it. Those are
all I'm
facts.
gonna say. Well, let me just change my scenario now. Let me just put it like this: I am Oprah. You could be Stedman or wherever you at, but Oprah's name is international. She's internationally known, and regardless of how you feel about
So
her,
that
she
is an absolute
she
perfect
is
example. Let's
it.
speak on that.
Go ahead.
Let's do that.
Oprah, like you said, international icon.
Absolutely.
Supposedly to others, besides Michelle, the face of all black women, Oprah Winfrey.
I don't want to give her that title, but she kind of
Yeah.
was.
Yeah,
She was given that voice.
Okay.
Absolutely. Okay, go ahead.
Has a love interest with Stedman for how many years? Ever and a day since I was a
Forever.
kid.
Okay.
Never ever.
You think
ever.
this man worried about? Hey, I tried to propose to Oprah a couple times. She turned me down. This, that, and the other. No, he's
That's a
cool
question
playing
for
the
y'all.
background role. He's cool playing the role in the background. But do you think that if it came out that some guy just posted somewhere, I got a video of me and Oprah together,
For a bad
Oh man.
bad bitch.
you think Stedman gonna be
There's
right
a
there?
video of her and Dave
No,
Chappelle.
so you know what's so funny, and this is absolutely goes back to everything I've always said to y'all, even in the beginning of this podcast. Men can't accept what's done to them.
I agree.
Stedman, maybe he stay, maybe he don't. We won't know, but I
would.
guarantee you, he wouldn't be on no TV sitting next
In
to
a
her
wife
like
beater.
this. Yeah, in a wife beater or not. He ain't doing that.
I'm still in his a hat or a bonnet.
It was a bonnet. She had on that
I
bonnet.
think he would. Stedman would.
He
How does
probably would
Stedman
stay
do that?
behind
Because what?
closed doors because of the fact that he has a comfy life. The name Oprah has opened so many doors.
So
for
is
him.
it love or
She was
loyalty?
giving away
At the
cars.
end of the
I would
day,
sit
it
back
probably
behind her.
is- It's probably loyalty.
Okay.
It's out of loyalty with that. But he's there for love right now because he like, why should I mess up a good thing? If she don't want to get married because she don't want me to touch this, she's still taking care of me. I have a roof over my head. I can do whatever I want to.
Is he taking care of her
So
though behind the
he's good.
scenes? So
And he's over.
I'm sure he's taking
So
care
it
of
might
her.
not be love or loyalty then. It might be just be comfort.
Maybe at the end of the day, but That's not my. I can't speak for Stedman. All I'm saying is, if it was done to a man, if you think honestly, if the shoe was on the other foot, she out here, because women out here getting them bags. Don't get it twisted.
So
wait a minute before you go.
No. We gonna speak on
Go
this.
ahead.
So you actually think that while Mr. Jackson was out doing his thing, that she didn't have somebody on the side?
No. And let me tell you, for women, it's easy for us to be celibate. We don't have to. Sometimes when
It's not about sex.
Listen,
You're thinking about
maybe
just
she
cheating.
wait. I'm not saying that she don't have a guy friend and she's not bouncing these things off her head, and he's not telling her like how Reggie be over here. Yo, he ain't right. He got this going. I'm sure she has a brother, uncle, cousin, whatever. You know, I got a ton of dudes that are my friends, legit, and they'll tell me, Shannon, yo, now you've always told me this, and now it's okay for you. Like somebody is in her ear. Don't get me wrong. But when it comes to, because our marriage ain't working, we ain't always jumping in the next bed like that. Women, it takes us, a lot of times we do stuff out of retaliation. A lot of times it's like, okay, if we don't feel our value, we gonna pull back. We regroup. We don't necessarily have to jump in the next bed. Men, if somebody say, oh, okay, nah, this ain't working out right now, 9 times out of 10, most men go get up under the next skirt.
Okay, but then what happens there? So as you have these friends that you're bouncing ideas off of, hey, this, that, and the other, and they're playing that quote-unquote friend role, then all of a sudden at home your relationship is going south. You don't think he's, hey, I'm next in line?
Sometimes they may feel that way. They may feel that way.
I mean,
You about the other boys. You had you some Judy's and James over there.
And one of them sitting across from me right now.
I wasn't. No, hold up,
Hey, you want to go talk? You all right?
Wait a minute. Don't do that. Because you already know I'm not that homegirl like that. I ain't in here trying to slide in the next man DM trying to get nobody's man.
What I'm trying to say is the fact that.
But you had women who thought they were supposed to be next.
I think what he's trying to say was, your example you were giving is, while you go into your ish, you have your male friends that are putting stuff in your ear.
Absolutely.
You said he had the same thing over there, but you're giving the impression that that the girls were waiting to slide.
They were in his case, Reggie. They were.
Oh.
They were. He can't sit up here. Don't try and save him. Reggie, take your cape off. Leave Super Stable home and away, because that's not his story.
No, but seriously, what I'm trying to say is the fact that these guys are their ass friends, and then all of a sudden she's like, "Oh my God, he cheated on me," and my Kevin Hart voice, "Oh my God," I can't believe he did
What a
that.
beautiful girl like you're doing in a place like this all by yourself.
That's how they be talking.
Come to my place and we can relax.
You don't got time for that.
And that moment of vulnerability, he takes advantage of her. Now she's like, "Oh, this guy really cares about me. I trust him."
So I'm gonna
opened
wait
up
for them
to him.
stories to come out, because they not out there yet. They
Just
not
like
out
they haven't
there.
been revealed.
All I'm saying,
Hold on.
I said they're not out there yet.
They're not out
so
there
give it
yet.
to them. I ain't even heard whispers.
For years, the stories of him cheating weren't out there. Doesn't mean that he wasn't cheating.
Man, my man he had a whole hideout. They say them videos that he be driving down the street, the white balcony. That was her balcony every
He got
time.
pregnant, and that was her house in the back, in the background.
Absolutely.
That's why.
Exactly.
So what you trying to say? These sides. So
my man got somebody
dudes better act.
house, and they're telling me how I should treat my
So
wife.
can I ask you this?
Well,
So dudes better at being side pieces than women? That's what you're trying to show me?
I mean, all I'm saying is what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
That's how it always should be.
Just being honestly in that answering that question, I would think so. Usually, because the guy's like, he's getting something, so he don't want to mess it up.
Right.
Yeah,
But she's getting something too.
Say that again.
Solomon always
say
say
that
that.
again.
I think
Hold on, no, say that line again.
Yeah.
the guy's
he's
getting something that he don't want to mess up.
Thank you.
So can I ask you something? Why do people think that women, when they're messing with somebody, that they're not getting anything out of it? It could be good, just a listening ear. It could be somebody that's actually treating them like they feel like their husband or their mate should be treating them. So they're getting something. Women are getting something out of it too. Y'all saying, "Oh, he getting something out of it because he getting something."
Yeah, but here's the issue.
He getting a
with that.
box. Is that what it is?
Here's the issue with that. Y'all get something out of it, but what you're getting out of it, you're putting more into it.
So you think?
So it does because in the end, if you stay around too long,
There's gonna be feelings.
It's gonna be emotional drainage coming out of it. Now you got that good feeling. It makes me feel good. My husband isn't making me feel good. My boyfriend isn't making me feel good. You're getting into it. He's in it right now, just enjoying it. You two vibing. Usually, not
He's
all the
doing
time.
like a lot of side chicks. Side chicks do the same thing.
Usually, but not all the time. But usually, the woman's gonna get more feelings first.
So let me explain this though. The only reason why a woman can get more feelings is if he's feeding her some type of lies or some type of he's selling her something. So while he's getting something out of it, he's also selling a dream, because there's no way that a woman's just gonna assume,
Happy hour?
okay, man, come
Chicken
on.
wings?
Listen, don't even do that. Women, y'all always want to take it as we're just these emotional creatures. I tell Solomon all the time, there are women out here that just can smash and keep it moving, and they ain't checking for you.
Hold on, one time, sure, absolutely.
show me
Yeah,
those.
but over and over again.
I got this one.
It's possible.
There is a three. I call it a 3-bone women.
Really?
Now,
Oh, wow.
Here's what I mean.
Yeah, please explain. I'm gonna pour. I'm gonna
pour on this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna pour.
I
on
think
this.
I think women and can do the casual smash. I'll put guys in here too. You can do the casual smash once with the same person. Then something happened, whatever. Then let's say y'all hanging out, it happens again. That'd be number 2. Y'all hanging out. All right, no relationship. Y'all doing y'all thing. Y'all just calling it buddies with benefits.
Friends with benefits.
Yeah. And when that third one hits, usually by that third time, someone's catching feelings. Usually it's the female.
So let me explain something, and I think y'all underestimate us.
No,
because
no.
let me explain
I'm agreeing
something.
with you, actually.
But
No,
listen,
please.
listen to this. When women are out here doing stuff, understand that we already know if you're marriage material, if you're boyfriend material. Some of us can just screw you guys for as long as we want to, because you may have good penis. That's it. She's out here saying, okay, he got good penis, but dude ain't got good credit. He ain't got this. He ain't got that. So we ain't checking for y'all in that manner. So don't think it's 3 times, because we can smash you 100 times over the course of several years.
Okay.
Whoa,
And there's
hold on.
no
You just proved
feelings
my
there.
point by saying that.
There's no
He
feelings.
ain't got nothing, but I'm going back 100
Over and
times.
over again.
Over and over
But
and
she's
over
not.
again.
Who's to say she's putting a relationship at risk? Who's to say she? How do you know she ain't just out here like Oprah, getting her bag, not really wanting the baggage of a relationship? Because there are women that are out here. She's not trying to have kids. There are women that's out here just chasing their purse, and when they get ready to settle down, they know who they want to settle down with. And I guarantee you, it ain't homeboy who she been smashing just for the sake of
And
smashing.
I bet you that same
I promise you
homeboy
not.
try to get serious. She say, okay, let's get serious right now.
Nah, she'll play with him. But when she realizes them things don't align with the lifestyle that she's asking for or what his goals, because we do look at that. We ain't just out here thinking because, he buying nice dinners and stuff. Some women are out here just chasing, okay, what you can do for me now. But that's y'all marrying them, or that's y'all choosing them as
I'm gonna flip the
girls.
script on you, because
Go
that
ahead.
same man who doesn't have nothing but, good dick, like you saying, you over and over and over just running back, and that's all you want, because you good in yours. You got your job, you got your house, you got your car, you taking care of yourself. That's all he providing for you. Now all of a sudden he done stepped his game up. Dude done stepped on and
And
found
if
him
he
a
is-
good job. Now he getting the bag.
Absolutely.
And if that relationship gets cut off, who you think gonna be?
She will
More in her
she'll be in
feelings.
her feelings in the sense
Okay,
that she
okay,
felt like she let
okay.
one get away. But the
prostitution
thing
less.
about it is that you have to show her that. The bottom line is, don't think that everybody out here just smashing you thinking that, okay, yeah, he could be my boyfriend. Oh, he got potential, girl. No, we having conversations too. Because not that we
So
care
why do you
about the
think this-
money
why do you
part. We
think
want
this
to see
dude
what you
was
got
on
going
social
on.
media, pretty much like Reg said, shooting brothers down, making himself
Himself look
look
good.
better. So now when I'm traveling from city to city to city, you don't think when I'm giving these little conventions or at the Essence Festival, what have you, it ain't one or two I'm looking at in the crowd. I'm like, hey, security. Go bring her to the
Absolutely.
back.
And she may be in the same mindset as one time is that Drake mindset. One time is fine with me.
But trust me, he was more in an advantageous situation when he was like, hey, go
So-
get her, and then, yo, I'm gonna
But
keep in
he
contact
chose
with
the
you.
bottom line is the one that he kept saying, at first it was like, it wasn't cheating. Then all of a sudden when he got his wife next to him in the bonnet, it was physical and all of this other stuff.
Oh, the
so
one had
who
the
was
video
the
in the
one
house.
called feelings though? Like he was the one going to her house. That lady said she had never been to his house.
And she
Yes,
ain't
you
gonna
know.
go this house.
No, the lady,
talking about the one, the
the one who had the house shown
In
in
the
the
back- yeah,
back.
that's the doctor.
She said she had never been to his home.
Yeah, she was too smart.
She look again, so she was
He ain't
getting her
tried that.
bag.
No, the one that went to the house.
Exactly.
No,
You weren't trying to
you
take
put
it
him
to
in
the
one
house.
of them that went
No,
to his house.
I know,
but
she did. I'm saying you put them in categories.
Okay.
The one that he flew out there, that didn't live in the area, he flew
brought
out
it to her house.
and took
Yeah.
it to the house. He the one got the video.
Absolutely. Mhm.
All right. He like she ain't got all that.
Yeah.
The other one's a doctor.
Right.
Like I can't have her outside the house because
she gonna be too smart. She
Yeah.
gonna know. She
Exactly.
So he played
She
on
gonna see the
those
towels
ones
and be
that-
like, wait
right.
a second.
This look like a girl. Exactly. Oh, she gonna look under your sink. Oh, that's two toothbrush. Wait, why is he hiding this other toothbrush? What is this about?
Exactly.
She is the one who understands. Like, she has some stuff going on, so she's not gonna let you. Everybody ain't out here playing the fool. She liked him. He wasn't with his wife at the time. They weren't living together, so she was buying whatever story it was. I'm not taking her off the table whatsoever, but at the end of the day, we look at that too. Like when I was dating, I only had one kid, so it was advantageous of me to just jump out here to think I'm gonna jump out here and say, okay, I want a man with 7 kids. What? And how many baby mamas? Oh no, like that. Why would I want that? I was always dating with a purpose, or I was dating at times without a purpose.
I think most guys date with a purpose.
You do? Okay.
May not be the same purpose that you have, but
yeah,
it's a
Purpose
purpose.
nonetheless.
It's a mission.
It's a covert operation.
There are men out here.
Operation.
There are men out here and women doing the same thing. But I think women get a bad rap because y'all think that all of us are so emotional that we are just gonna fall in love.
I have a lot of female friends that consider themselves, I'm just like a dude. I can be like a dude. And it's true. They can do it up to a point. And that point happens after the third smash. So they would come to me hanging out for guy advice. And I'm like, I would always do this. Okay. Are you and the guy officially dating as a couple? No. Okay. Have you guys, I said, before I get I will start off with this.
That's a good question.
I will start off with this too. The advice that I give you is based on the information you give me based on my life experience. The more accurate information you give me, I can give you some advice. Whether you take it or not, it's going to be up to you.
That's it.
So, ask me, are they dating? No. Has he taken you out anywhere for dinner or out in public? I'll get this sometime. No.
So,
They only hook. No, hold on. They only hook up after the club. But they hooked up 4, 5, 6, 7 times, and this chick, more than one friend, is like gone. Like she's freaking out.
God,
He's
he's
not
the
returning
love of my
phone
life.
calls. I think he's got a baby mama somewhere. I'm like, dude,
You just
but
saying that?
but the thing about it is that these are conversations that these women have to have. Like, there are women out here that's not having those conversations.
Yeah.
Majority of my female friends and the women that are in my circle, I guess because we're at this point, like most of us are 35 and older.
no, these are older women too, like 40 up.
Right, but have they been married?
Divorcees?
One, I'm thinking about 10 friends of mine.
Just in general, like the majority of them never
no,
been
they were
married. So
fully
now
never
they're
married.
basically a lot of them at this point are chasing mother time in the sense of trying to figure out, okay,
think so.
I want to get married, I got to get these things in line because sometimes our clocks be clicking.
But in your defense, what you said earlier, and I learned this again from having a female friend listen to what they're saying. I would have these conversations, and they would say, "Reg, yeah, they're calling us crazy, but they don't tell you what they're telling us behind closed doors."
Exactly, they're selling some type of dream to those women.
So even though he never took out in public, when they're alone in the house or whatever, he's saying, "I love you," and they're making love,
So-
and
Yeah.
all this stuff, and taking their money and you run the credit card bill up and all this stuff. But he's
hold on.
making them feel like they're the one.
But now go
And
back
that's
to
the
what I've
difference.
always told you.
There's an
Somebody that is whatever they're supposedly supposed to be doesn't have to tell you.
Right.
Meaning that my first time watching Michael Jordan, my first time watching Kobe Bryant, I can look at his game and say,
And LeBron.
dude's good.
and LeBron.
He don't have to come to me and like, hey, Saul, I can ball.
Right.
I can look at somebody and how they act and how they carry themselves.
we
and
don't
say,
live
and
in
hold
the
on,
era.
hold on. I can look at somebody and see how they act and carry themselves and like, damn, dude got money. I mean,
So
it's the dude that don't have money. Man, I got this, I got that.
but you can.
If
This
you
is
are
social
something, you don't
media
have to tell somebody.
era. So this social media era
No,
is
but to
giving
go back
false
to what Reg was
pretenses.
saying, they were selling them this dream behind closed doors. If a dude has to keep telling you and telling you and telling, and you're not seeing it for yourself, why are you believing it?
Can I explain this?
Emotional.
A lot of times it's everybody didn't have an amazing dad like I had. Like my dad talked, like we talked. So I would tell people, a lot of women are growing up where they were raised by just women. So they're only getting one side of what that story looks like. I was lucky enough to have my parents in my household up until I was like in the 12th grade. Now they did eventually separate and divorce or whatever the case may be. And so each one of us have our own version of what a super dad looks like. But I'll be honest, because my dad and the men in my life were so amazing, I look at things so differently.
So
A
who's
lot
the
of
most amazing
women,
man in your life right now?
Jesus. Thank you, Father God.
I could take a back seat.
Father God, okay? Don't play with me. So, anywho, to say what, like, as I stated to you, a lot of women don't have that strong relationship with men. So, like with the men in their lives, for them to even be able to pick up on certain things that guys are doing, they aren't what they say they are. Who they show you they are. They don't know that. So a lot of times, I think that women out here, these younger women, are dating and they're only replicating what they've seen at home.
Okay.
So for me, if I looked at my mom now, my mom is single. She is a widow. Well, my dad and her were divorced at the time when he passed away. But my mom is a different version of that. She still, don't get me wrong, she still loves the same way, wants to be in those desirable relationships. But she's right. She has a right to be picky about who she ends up with. She's been married before. Some of these women have never been married, and your biological clock is out there kicking. It's like it's ticking because you feel like you haven't done these things in this time frame, and then it doesn't feel like it's enough good men out here because he's selling his game to everybody. So you're in a rat race. Almost, you're trying to figure out, okay, well, is he telling me what it is true? But again, as women, we got to own the fact of how we date. We have to teach you all how to treat us, how we desire to be treated and courted.
And that goes both ways, because you have to understand what it is, the role that is defined in a relationship, and not saying that a man has to do this or a woman has to do that, but for each individual unique relationship, that role for those individuals that are taking part in that relationship need to be defined so that each understands. But I'm glad you spoke about parenting, because what we're going to do is take a break, and this is going to roll us into our next segment, which I think is going to get real interesting around here. So go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. I wanted to
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
we'll go into the next segment. We'll go ahead and we'll address that in a second, because I think that I wanted to continue this discussion because it was leading into my next topic, is in regards to, relationships and how sometimes the disparity in income and roles play.
Can I ask you this, ma'am? Can we save that to segment 3? Because like I said, I want to segue from the parenting
Absolutely.
aspect into another thing that's getting hot in pop culture right now, and let's transition into that.
Let's do
that.
that.
So, Serge, if you can take us to our first break, we're going to do one song, number 2.
Which one? We got Her.
Yeah, Her.
Okay, bet.
Danger. Damage, that's what it is. Okay,
we'll be right back on His, Hers, and Ours.
Thanks.
If you got it, it ain't a question. Oh, it ain't no one for guessing. No more than emotionally invested. Showing you all my imperfections. Oh, if I let you, don't take me for granted. Yeah. If I'm worth more than you could manage, yeah. Open with me, oh, we could be honest. Closer to me, oh, giving me silence. Promise that you won't let me fall. Holding me tight, loving me right, giving me life all night. You could be telling me lies, making me cry, wasting my time the whole time. So just be careful what you take for granted. Yeah. With me, no, you could do damage. You could do damage. You do damage. Yeah. Worry about it, I'm putting pressure. You'll only cut me if I let you. No, we ain't doing this just for pleasure. Either learn me or I'm a lesson. Going on. If you want me, don't take me for granted. Yeah. If I'm worth more than you could manage, baby. Oh, you're falling for me. Oh, baby, I caught it. Oh, we could be whatever you want, call it. Promise that you won't let me fall. Holding me tight, loving me right, giving me life all night. You could be telling me lies, making me cry, wasting my time the whole time. So just be careful what you take for granted. Yeah. Cause with me, no, you could do damage. You could do damage. You could do damage. Oh, you could do damage. Oh, you could do damage. Yeah. Oh, you could do damage. Yeah. Oh, do damage. Oh, yeah.
And we are back. You have just finished listening to Her Damage, one of my favorite joints out right now. And yeah, I mean,
If
her
wherever
is
it's
her
at,
is
he's
killing it
stopping.
right now. I
Yeah.
mean, one of my favorite.
Janae running in my car right now.
Yeah, she's up there.
She just re-released her first album,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, whew.
That her, Janae Aiko, Summer Walker. I mean, this
let me
vibe
think
right
who
now.
else.
Oh, I got him all in his feelings. Yes.
Let's see.
hunty.
I like SZA.
SZA's in there. Yeah, I was feeling SZA when she did the duo with Kendrick from the Black Panther soundtrack.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But you are back with His, Hers, and Ours, real life couple holding real life conversation with real life friends. I am your co-host, Solomon Davis, with my masterpiece.
Hi, Shannon Royal Davis. You're so disrespectful, but we ain't gonna even get there. We'll get there in a minute.
She got something for you, probably.
No worries.
No, she know what's up there. I don't know if you heard that song by the Baby, the masterpiece.
Don't be giving baby airtime right now. We don't want to hear that.
But we ended that last segment speaking about the whole Derek Jackson situation, and Shannon brought up a great point about parenting, and I want to roll that into another segment that's been popular in culture conversations recently, and that is parenting with one of America's favorite athletes, one of my favorite guards of all time in the NBA, Dwayne Wade, and how he is handling a situation with his youngest son, who now identifies as a female. And I'll let my co-host.
So wait a minute. Why you want to just
Hand it
alley hoop that to me? I don't want that. I don't want that one.
What
But
you
go
don't want
ahead.
it? I thought you wanted all the smoke.
Yeah, I'll take it.
All smoke.
I'm never scared of anything. So I understand where D Wade is coming from. So this whole thing where his son, who is now identifies as a daughter, came to him, and it just speaks to the idea of us parenting differently. You and I both have had not necessarily a similar situation in the sense of our child having gender issues or gendered association and identity. We didn't have that, but we do have a child who identifies as being gay. And for me, it was a struggle at first because, that's a difficult conversation to have with any parent. But it was because I think she was so young to me. And I think I can identify with Dwayne Wade when he said he identified his child early on. He could see that his son, then was acting differently, and they had a conversation at 3 as parents, and as, his spouse, that he said, what if our child came out and said that they were gay? And he had to start having different conversations. So for me, dealing with the child who is gay, it was a bit different because I think I'm an open parent, but when that came up, just the way it happened, I didn't like how everything was falling into place. I thought that she didn't give herself a chance, or she didn't really know. But kids are now proven to be better at identifying themselves nowadays than we were when we were their age.
So my opinion on this is the fact that I applaud D. Wade for standing by his child and whatever the child chooses to identify by. I guess where I seem to be indifferent or kind of disagree with the parenting aspect is how public it seems to have gotten.
Yeah.
I think situations like this should be handled behind closed doors. I mean, because what happens when 5, 6, 7 years from now, when his child is now 18, 19, and decides, you know what, I identify as being a male. You know,
they have that right,
and they do have that right. But you know how scrutinized he will be at that particular point in time.
I don't
look at it
think
like
he'll be
this.
scrutinized.
Go back. Look at another popular athlete, Magic Johnson, and his son EJ. You know, who now pretty much identify. Well, I don't think he identifies as female, but does, you know, let people know that he is openly gay, and you know, dresses, you know, very feminine and what have you. But you know, Magic isn't out posting that the way D-Wade does. And it could be just the fact that social media is now the norm where it wasn't for Magic and what have you. But I guess I just don't agree when it comes to...
But Magic Show posted, or he was tagged in the fact that he bought his son an Hermes bag. Like, so whether you do it out loud or quietly, you're still doing it.
At the end of the day, I look at it like this. In Dwayne Wade's situation and Magic's situation, what have you, is the child doing anything wrong? No. So as a parent, am I going to support them? I might be.
But if his son was out here balling out of control, it would be all over social media. It wouldn't be a problem, and no one have any idea or any cares in the world as to how he parented his oldest son, because his son was out here just balling. Like, let's say, like if he was like Bronny,
okay,
and Bronny is out here, got his over 3 million, followers, whatever, 23 million followers, whatever it is. Social media is a big part of this puzzle now. Like, we didn't have that when we were coming up.
Nope.
So to have that conversation, to act like, okay, well, this one is doing so great. He even talks about that in a recent podcast he did on I Am Athlete, where he said he was cropping out pictures, like they wouldn't post them, and it was family. Their family agreed not to post pictures of him or her at the time, because they didn't. You posting all your children, but you can't post with that one because you're so concerned with what people are going to say. So when he had to do a family gut check as to how they felt about it, and he said the same thing. Why am I hiding my child from the world? They're going to eventually see her. So why should I hide her and let y'all make millions of dollars off of her? I'm not trying to make no millions off my kid. I already know who my kid is. I'm going to go ahead and expose it so y'all can't even get any money off of it.
Right, but at the same time, what happens is the fact that, and this is my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not saying he's right, he's wrong, what have you. It's solely my opinion. I believe until a child is able to protect, defend, or justify themselves without my help or the help of any other adult, then it is your right as a parent to protect them.
And he is still protecting.
So let's just say, this kid goes to school and is coming home from school, and all of a sudden TMZ jumps out of a sudden and puts a camera in.
But you're taking it out of
TMZ's
TMZ's hand now by allowing the kid to be so open and visible and being a voice for a community of people who have had to be silent because that's a choice that they've made, or either that they feel like they've been, they always were. So I think he's doing the right thing, allowing this kid to speak up, and he's censoring the amount of exposure that the kid gets, So I think that he's doing the best he can in this environment. To say I can't let my child be posted at all, somebody can jump out on his son while he off at college and jump out there and say, oh, so how's your gay sister or whatever, like anything. You're allowing by stepping in as a parent now, allowing these conversations to be had. It's creating a bigger picture and a bigger platform.
You don't think that you have groups, organizations, and what have you that
vying for it?
Exactly.
Absolutely, I think that they are. But those are relationships that he is managing behind the scenes that that we don't know these conversations are being had. There are groups that have reached out to try and have that child be the face of these different conversations. For me, 12,
11, maybe 12?
I want to say 12 or 13.
I think it's too young.
I think it's 13.
Exactly.
I think it's too young. Don't get me wrong, but we had never been in a time or a space where kids were coming out at 8 saying, and I don't care even if they were, when you saw your cousin or your, that was like I said, we had a cousin who acted one way when we were kids, and I could tell who it was. Like, I knew at a younger age. I was like, yeah, he don't like playing with none of the boys. He like playing with us all the time. I'm not really playing with Barbies.
We're the exact same age, elementary school, friends on Facebook right now too. It was obvious we were like in first through fifth grade. Mm-hmm. My mom even called it. I'm like 10 years old, and I didn't. He went to Jefferson, and so after fifth grade, lost contact. We went to different junior highs and high school, but we had mutual friends. So when social media hit, we found out everybody from our from elementary school got in one group on Facebook and found him. Now it's obvious. It's like
right,
and he's proud of it too. Ain't nothing to be ashamed of or anything.
But wasn't his family ashamed back when?
I don't know because again we're from 5 years old to 10 years old,
gotcha.
But it was just obvious. And so I never went to his house. I don't know how his family was.
Right.
But there was somebody when as I grew up, I'm like, I wonder how that kid turned out. And we're like, by the time Facebook came out, we're like late 30, 40 years old. I'm like, yep, we called that one right. But
you can see it.
He
and
got
it was
married.
okay.
He will like each other's pictures and stuff and leave comments and stuff. He's got married. Had
Nobody has an issue with it until it's at their front door, until it's their child. Yeah. So for me, I applaud how he's dealt with it. For me, no it would have been a different conversation because I probably would have been that parent like, baby, can we just wait a little while longer before we do these, before you really and truly feel like this is who you are. Like you haven't had a chance to figure out what you like and what you don't like. But even with my gay daughter, I was having difficult conversations with her and talking to her like somebody in the streets. My coworkers would laugh when I'm talking to her, but I wanted her to get, well, my mom said that to me. So if she heard it in the street, it wasn't nothing nobody in the street could say to her because I was building her skin to be tough. She's 21 now.
But when she came out, how old was she?
About 15, 16. Yeah.
That sounds about right.
She was about 15 or 16.
Here's the
but
thing,
it was cool back then.
No, but I mean, that age, most of the girls I knew were exploring sexuality at 13, 14 years old. When I
always thought they did that in college.
So what happened with us? What happened with us? And if I'm wrong, please correct me. Our daughter is very, very skilled athletically. I mean, just natural athletic ability. Run, jump, throw, whatever. She is a natural athlete. So the fact that she was playing basketball, playing softball, running track, and around girls all the time, it just seemed like, that alpha male mentality kind of kicked in from the athletic standpoint. And it was just like, well, from a man's perspective, you have to be attracted to a female. And she's around them all the time. So, even when she approached us and said, Mom, Dad, I think I'm gay, as parents, and I think Shannon kind of struggled a little bit more with it at first more than I did. Absolutely. Because my thing was, identity crisis. You don't know who you are right now. This is what you think you want, but, nothing's proven. But the kid's mentality was, I just want to be able to open up to somebody and they're still going to love me. She wanted to be loved. And when we re-emphasized to her that, hey, no matter what you identify as, we love you, everything was okay then. And I'll be honest, I thought it was a phase. I thought she was going to snap out of it and what have you.
I think most parents kind of think that initially, but then as time progresses.
Well, because it was this. I mean,
first off,
we had real life conversations with her. We were like, okay, she brings a young girl around, and it was like, okay, have you kissed her? No. Have you done this?
Everybody in their age group was, they're gay or they're bisexual. Like they didn't even know to me what they really were.
Have you kissed each other? No. Have you done this? Have you done that? No. So what do you do? Or when we're walking down the hallways at school, we hold hands. Okay, so basically, y'all are best friends that are saying that y'all are girlfriends.
Besties.
Right.
Okay, so
and then eventually
she
did share with us that she started kissing, but she didn't tell us the other stuff, and I'm kind of glad because I was the mom that was like, yo, you understand that at some point it's going to stop being holding hands, and you're going to be having to do some stuff. Like, she has the same thing the girls have, you get every month. Like, I was really having these hard conversations with her.
So when it went from there, I was just like, hey, they just, they call themselves girlfriends. So
would you have been that calm if that were your son?
Good question.
And you want to be a cheerleader?
Good question.
Hey,
I wonder though. Hey, man, do all parents have that mentality? And I'm not saying how parents created it in some factory with their mentality of being a parent when they think of certain things as a phase.
Okay.
Before it transitions from a phase to an actual reality.
Well, for us, it just kind of. Over time, it was like, that's what she identifies as and what have you. It was like, that's just her being her. So, I mean, it is what it is. And it just never went away. So we just accepted it.
And part of it to me was if you are not comfortable with who you are, that's why we still thought it was a phase, because you would only show that to us or people who knew about it. You weren't going around your grandparents saying, oh, I'm gay. Where, like it was not a conversation. My mom even at one point said, "Hey, stay in the closet. Don't come out yet." You know, so it was just that kind of stuff that my kid had to tolerate. And I think it built her skin to be tough. But I think from a relationship wise, I think that when they start out so young, kind of to your point, Solomon, that they don't fully develop all of those skill sets. And so that's why it kind of stuck to us that it was more of a phase. And I've watched her go through, you know, her life now, you know, as far as from the relationship standpoint. I don't feel like she's ever been totally complete and just comfortable with whoever or the person that she's dating hasn't been the same way. Because either they're struggling with the same things that their family's not accepting, or something is at some point it hasn't always aligned in that way. So I always like to say for kids when they come out like that, for us it was like, well, she's still trying to figure it out, and we had the right to feel that way because she was being one way with us. But if she came in front of his dad or my dad or my mom or her grandparents or her dad, it didn't matter. She was not that same kid, so she would put on, okay, I'm just a tomboy. Versus out mouth.
I can see what you were saying because you said she played basketball, right?
Mm-hmm.
Basketball and softball.
One of my friends I've grown up with, her daughter plays basketball. She's in college right now. Other daughter also plays sports. Both lesbians.
Gotcha.
Hardcore.
But look, I play
like
basketball, softball, and all of that too.
It's like you train her as she's growing up. You know, hey, Saul, can you take me to the basketball court? This, that, and the other. And, you know, being a basketball player when I was younger and what have you, you know, I'm telling her watch these different things and what have you. And my thing was, you not only watch people what they do on the court, but how they prepare. So now you're watching their entire lives. So now from a female standpoint, when you got these guys telling you, hey, you need to watch Kobe Bryant. Hey, you need to watch Michael Jordan. Hey, you need to watch LeBron James, and every move they make. And they start emulating those moves. Now every move you're making is more guy-oriented than it is female-oriented. And so that just clicks into now everyday life. Everything you do now kind of switches.
Women are really being like, so there's no secret. I think women are, when it comes to sports, are more fundamentally sound. Like their fundamentals are there. When they're doing these different things, men give off a little more athleticism. But as far as fundamentally, if you're watching a basketball game and you're watching the methodical way of how they're playing, guys tend to be more athletic than girls are more like they're more fundamentally sound. So now these same women are now being able to dunk, are able to run the floor like the guys because you've been pushing and practicing the same way. I think in this day and age that it's becoming a little more of the norm.
Right, but I think what Alfie was speaking about was how does that transition? And now, okay, you taking those fundamentals, but that's now turned into your off-the-court life.
Right.
How you live every day. Now you're starting to think more like a male versus than a female. Because, hey, in order to, you got to dominate out there. You got to be this. Nobody's better than you. You bust somebody's ass every time you get a chance.
I played basketball and softball and ran with all the boys. I was a tomboy. But at the end of the day, I had no desire to figure out what was under my homegirl's skirt or what was under her shorts. Like it didn't click in that mindset and in that desire. It wasn't. That wasn't me when I was coming up. Absolutely not. So I don't know what you giving me what you talking about Willie's face, but that wasn't.
No, I think you're watching the wrong movies.
Yeah. You know what I think though? Honestly, it's kind of like the old school guard situation. Like the older adults. Now we were brought up a certain way, and now you got these new age adults, which are a lot more open, a lot more accepting of certain things versus the old guard.
Right.
So I mean, it's probably easier for them to identify whatever their way they want to identify now, as opposed to say 10 or 20 or 30 years ago, maybe even further back than that, because now we got social media too. So
absolutely.
See, and that's the danger with social media. You know, the fact that everybody can be whoever they choose to be and have no validity behind it whatsoever.
Oh, it's the same thing I said when these women were out here just dating. They were getting these illusions of what people were.
Yeah, because
absolutely.
But they were believing the illusions.
But you can be whoever you want to be on social media. But go ahead.
So why aren't you digging deeper to find out?
Go back to your parenting. Sir.
Exactly.
We'll go back to parenting. Just gonna go back to parenting.
The defense rests its case.
It don't, but I'm not going to go there.
Your Honor, no.
You can't handle the truth.
Whatever.
But no, seriously, I mean, the way I grew up, and you know, you're looking at the world as it is. I mean, you see, I've had friends over the years that were experimental, but then you get into this modern age where it's like, okay, you can't really show that out there, or you're okay with it now because your parents are okay with it. They're more open-minded versus
they old now.
They're old now.
No, but Alpha, to be honest with you, I mean, I'll be honest. I'll say this: there are a lot of things that people do or enjoy, participate in, identify with, that they will keep behind closed doors because of the fear of how society will judge them.
Exactly, and that's always been a thing.
And so, I mean, like I said, we embraced our daughter due to the fact that she was just looking to be loved. She was definitely afraid that when she said that hey, I'm gay, that we would basically disown her.
That's just because of the way society is right now.
You know,
we're slowly getting out of that phase. And like I said, being a lot of parents are a lot more accepting because of the era that they were raised in. They're not following what their parents did.
Right.
They're not following the black and white videos or those
from the 50s.
Yeah, thank you, Rich. That's exactly what I was thinking.
I've seen those on YouTube. Yeah,
because you have those crazy mentalities back then. Like, okay, if you do this,
hey, Billy's the baseball coach. Hey, here's little Timmy. They don't know that the baseball coach, he's funny. He's going to give Billy a ride home. And they think of this whole scenario. That's what's going on.
And we're in a society now where we're not. A lot of the old guards are beginning to fall. It's beginning to disappear. And a lot of the more modern era is a lot more accepting of these are not taboos anymore. This is how it is.
Going back, but still to a certain extent, and I'm going to go back to exactly what you said and the question that you posed to me. Now, opened arms and embraced my daughter when she said it. How would I have felt if it was a son?
That's what I was going to say, because actually it's a funny conversation. We were like 21 years old. We're at Hooters on Hillsborough. Remember the conversation? And one of my homie boys is about to get married. And we're joking around with him.
Reggie has his memory, boy.
Yeah, no, we got it back.
Go
my
ahead.
homeboys, man. And look at my Facebook. I'm posting all these 90s pictures. I found a whole stuff full of pictures from like years ago.
Yeah, I saw them.
And we had a conversation about what if one of our kids turned to be gay. We all said the same thing. We're open-minded about it. We're like, it was still kind of a masculine answer. Like, I still love him. I'd be cool with it as long as he ain't no punk. They're like, he can be cool with it, but I don't want him to be feminine. And so it's like, look, dog, you can be gay all you want. Just let me come around and switch your hips and all that. You can bring your boyfriend around as long as both y'all like.
So so guys tend to have that approach of, or like some guys are just like, they're still like an old school mentality. Like to me, I don't think unless that's how you identify as, you want to be the feminine version of whatever, or you tend to take a little bit of a softer approach. That's fine. For me, with my daughter, it was, I wanted you to be who you were. And if you don't know who you are yet, don't identify as one or the other. You don't have to wear your hair cut like a boy because that's just what they do, because you feel like you're going to be the masculine in that relationship. Be comfortable with being who you are. Don't let society dictate, okay, you're a stud, you're a guy, whatever, and you wearing men's boxers, but you can't wear no boxers when it's that time of the month.
Before she came out to you
guys,
you got to
put on panties.
Before she came out to you guys, I think you have to keep in mind that I'm pretty sure she was having a whole debate amongst herself before coming out.
Probably so.
So one thing you have to consider too is with the social media age, you could find a group of people in your peer group online, which we couldn't do back in the day.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure she found that online some young group, her age group, that were having those conversations online.
Absolutely.
And they were communicating. Back in our day, it would have been like, you by yourself, you can't tell nobody. You just
right.
You just confused.
But they felt by themselves because your friends weren't educated enough to feel comfortable with that because of what's been taught to them. So like I said, it's changing times.
Another thing, and this is why I applaud D. Wade, because he takes an active role in his child's life and is there to support all of that. Like I said, I still don't agree with it being all public, but the fact that he does take that role, you have to be aware of what is going on in your child's life. And I think what happened with us, when I started dating Shannon and then ultimately married her and brought Jaden into my life and what have you, she was 9-10 years old at that point in time.
10 or 11, yeah.
You blaming yourself?
No, I'm not blaming myself.
What?
Not at all. I mean, I was there with her every step of the way. But what I'm saying is,
I'm gonna have to nip this in the bud. Look, Jaden had a phenomenal mom and has a phenomenal mom.
I'm teasing.
And she had amazing men in her life. Like I always had, and Solomon, I'll tell you, I have an amazing village, and it's not just men, it's women, it's gay women, it's straight women, it's whatever. Men and women, these people are in our lives, and they have really like always taken care.
These men friends now she's talking about.
That made no, you know what?
That makes the difference.
But you mentioned gay people that around your village.
Yeah,
that made her more comfortable.
It probably was.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what I'm trying to say is, and paying attention. And
I mean that in a good way.
Yeah,
in a good
way.
You know, because she saw those people and how they maneuvered. But then, you know, we have to watch her and saying, you know, hey, we're taking family pictures, or we're doing this, or we're doing that, or we're going to church and what have you. You start watching the way they dress and what have you. And it went from, I don't want to wear that dress and this and that. I'm wearing pants and blah, blah, blah. And it went from just like that. You couldn't get her in a dress anymore.
And mind you, my child was shapely. Like if she would actually dress like herself, she has curves for days. She has a butt, like hips,
Listen,
everything.
I'll put it to you like this, Reg. I mean, I'm her dad, but I can literally say this: if she dressed in a feminine role, I don't know a 20, 21, 22, 23, 24-year-old man that wouldn't try to holler.
That's the same as my
and part of her was the same thing. Her thing was when she was younger, because she was so shapely. Guys were so aggressive. They're trying to have sex. So it kind of pushed her in that way. So the dynamic of how she pursued different things, because girls weren't as pushy or they weren't trying to be aggressive. She did tend to go in that way, and then I kind of understood where she was coming from at that point, because you know, but middle school guys become, hey, let me see.
That's the slapping butt age.
Yeah. So, and that's where that became.
Slide you high.
She did not feel comfortable.
Yeah. GG, good game.
She look, so and that's where she became uncomfortable. So I think that as parents, you do the best that you can. If it's you know, he's so sick.
So going back to that conversation you said you and your boys were having at Hooters.
Yep.
And also piggybacking off of what you asked me, you know, if it were my son, would I have felt the same way?
Daddy.
You think that sometimes it's more accepting for the girl to come out versus the boy because
100%.
Because the father might think now that's an representation of me.
No, I think it's easier for the girl to come out because society accepts it more easier with the female.
Exactly.
They always do.
I think that the guy can come out easier if he's not stereotypical gay. Okay. If he comes in like a stud, been a jock on the football team, just kind of just throw like, yo, Dad, I gotta tell you something. We gotta talk, bro. I know you don't want to hear this. I think I'm gay. Or I'm not think, I am gay. Okay. You'll take that better than him coming in. All of a sudden, he got a scarf tied around his neck. And coming in like Blaine Edwards and two snaps up.
No.
I think that will hurt you more. But if he comes in like on a serious tip, like he's like, and also he's older. Mm-hmm. Like 21, 22. You start getting teenage-wise, you get the reaction that you gave. Like, are you sure? Like, you're a teenager here. Right. You're 12, you're 13. You're not sure what you're doing.
You're finding yourself right now.
You're finding yourself. You know, you're exploring yourself. It happens all the time. I did it a million times. You know, I think that is what kind of changed it. But I do think it's harder for a guy to accept it because no matter what, and this kind of corresponds with what you said earlier about women cheating, guys can't take it. Mm-hmm. I think when you picture gay with a guy, we're actually, no matter what you say, we're picturing sex. The same thing when you said when a guy can't accept a woman cheating. No matter what we see, we're picturing every single thing you did with that dude, and now we got to kiss you.
And we have to do the same thing.
Yeah, but no.
Wait a minute.
No, you do.
No, y'all tie emotions with it, where we're looking at physical.
We're physically like, I'm like,
subject. We're getting off the subject.
But the same. The bottom line is the bottom line. But go ahead.
What I'm saying is that corresponds with the whole dad accepting a gay son, because like, hey, Dad, I'm gay. You're picturing like, you're a top or a bottom.
Really?
Like, come on, dog. Really? Like,
but the bottom line is that
my boy ain't no bottom. Not my son.
You always on top.
You gonna be on top. That's my boy.
God, okay.
That's where I did your mama.
Can we go to the next topic, please? I'm done with the kids. Yeah, I will apply Dwayne Wade. We're gonna move on.
Once again, shout out Dwayne Wade, for being an outstanding parent and what have you.
And you know what? You guys are outstanding parents as well.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Sometimes we need that reminder.
Your daughter's situation, being able to handle it the way you all did. It's not that old school mentality. It's like, it's a modern mentality.
It wasn't. And I'm starting to see even more parents now when you're faced with that, how they're dealing with it. I think that, honestly, I think kids need an outlet to be able to be heard. And sometimes we come in with the same mentality because, oh, the Bible says this. When we stop really thinking of, like, for me, what got me through everything is when I started to understand that, okay, well, we all go to church together. She has to define her own relationship with God. And once I let that go, it became easier for me. I didn't worry about her with that, but I do still get mad, like, oh, so she said what to you? You want, and I'm treating the girlfriend like she a dude too, because at this point, me and you about to get it about my baby.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, they're still your kids. I think that the situations make you a little more protective of them and how people perceive them and in the way that they're presented out there. The best compliment I get from my kid now is when people see her and they know that she's gay. I tell them up front, like, look, when you meet up with my child, she look like her short haircut, this and that. But they always say she's respectful. She's very mannerable. She has good home. Like, you can tell she comes from a good home. Yeah. So those are things those are things that I find peace in, and I realize that you can't base your parenting on what your children's decisions are.
All right, so with that being said, we're going to wrap this segment up and take a break. Serge is going to take us out, and then we're going to come back with what you want to do with our last segment and spend some time with that.
Absolutely.
So this is episode 3 of His, Hers, and Ours.
Yes,
we'll be right back.
Thank you.
I'm not wildin' out like I used to. I don't do the things I used to no more. I changed for you. Looking back, I thought I would never love like this. Broke so many hearts before. Hey, 'cause I changed for you. I don't do the things that I used to do no more. Everything that you do, I adore. No more lies, no more games. Everything I say, I mean, ayy. And all the love you give me, baby, it means so much to me. So don't take your love away. No one compares to what you do for me. And every time you see me, baby, you take me in your arms. Oh man, trust me, baby, I won't ever leave you. Believe me, I'm yours forever. You need me, 'cause I'm down for whatever. Am I changed? I'm wildin' out like I used to. I don't do the things I used to no more. I changed for you. Looking back, I thought I would never love like this. Broke so many hearts before. I changed for you.
Pull out the fine wine glasses, dinner in bed. Went and took some culinary classes. Gotta stay sexy for you, baby. Tighten up my body, working on my ghetto Pilates. I'm not going out tonight. We can hit the sofa, cuddle up, satellite surf. Oh, baby, whatever, let me accommodate you. Is there anything you like for me to change?
I can tuck my plaits, but I can't cover up my tats.
Oh, no.
I did some things that I can't take back.
But baby, it's true, I will change it all for you.
Believe
You gotta believe me, baby.
I'm yours forever.
Oh,
completely
in love.
Down for whatever.
Baby, I
change.
I'm not wildin' out like I used to. I don't do the things I used to no more.
No more.
I changed for you.
Looking back, I thought I would never
love like this. Broke
so many hearts before. Oh, yeah. New and improved, bringing out the best of me. Because the old me was lonely, searching for my one and only. So happy that I found you.
Saw the potential, and you made it so simple to be in love, and I'll never be the same.
Everything for you I
So many hearts, so many hearts. I changed for you.
storm. Yeah. I can't really explain it. I'm so into you now. I wanna be more than a friend of you now. When they ask, I mention my baby girl in the interviews now. And I don't bring the problems from the 90s and the 2000s. There's no reason to have a friend or two now. Cause the kid's ready to tell you how he feel in a few vows. Maybe I speak in general now. But girl, I'ma do whatever just to keep a grin on you now. Where I go, they wear bikinis in the winter too now. What you think about tan lines on the skin of you now? Why wouldn't I wanna spend a few thou? On Fifth Ave, shopping sprees, and them dinners to chow. I ain't concerned what other men would do now. As long as when I up in you, you growl. And any dude with you, he better be a kin of you now. And I ain't jealous, it's the principle now. I'm so into you. Flashing, I would've traded it all in orderly fashion. A villa in Florida, we crashing just off the shore, so you can hear when the water be splashing. The drop top 3 in a quarter, we dashing. The flawless diamonds in the border, we flashing. The money we oughta be stashing. I make sure every quarter be cashing. I can't really explain. My friends be thinking I'm slipping, these girls be thinking I'm tripping. What kind of weed be smoking? What type of drinks you be sipping? Sweet thing, just to think of you dipping. What had me with the blues so hard, you would think I was crippin'. Now you relaxing in the bins, credit cards with no limits, so you don't worry about maxing when you spend. But since you been asking about the friends, how'd you like it if both our names had Jackson on the ends? Girl, the way you cook a steak remind me of them strips and roof Chris. You love my smile, no matter how chipped my tooth is. With you, it ain't because my whips is ruthless. So sit on chrome, dipped up deuces. And you ain't flattered by Canary and VS dip, taste souses. Cover ballers look dumb when they press you, 5s and 6s. You don't let them kind of numbers impress you. Even though I was somewhat successful, me and a player was becoming too stressful. But every since the superwoman has come to my rescue, my winter's been wonderful, my summer's been special. Let's fly the same bark while the villa be painted, just so we can get really acquainted. The love is real, there's no way it can feel like it's tainted, but I can't really explain it. Yeah.
Welcome back to His, Hers, and Ours. I am Shannon Royal Davis.
The masterpiece.
Dude, don't play with me.
I already get this over trouble.
And my co-host,
Solomon Davis.
who will be in the doghouse.
You sleeping on the couch tonight, buddy.
Yeah, nah, if you know the story, I'm staying straight in my bed.
Oh, you kicking her out to the couch?
So, before we get this segment started, I really have to shout out my family and friends. One of my cousins live on the other side of the world, and she joins us every time that we are live. So, shout out to my cousin Sharon.
Shout out, cousin. What part of the world?
She's, I want to say she's in Austria. Yeah,
so like
I get
Euro,
sure. She's in Euro somewhere over there.
Area.
Yeah. Then my sister, she's in
EU.
Dubai, so she tries to join too. But it is what it is.
Oh, there's like a 6 or 7 hour difference. Well, some of those cases 8 or 9.
So you trying to say I'm internationally known on the microphone?
There you go. Boom.
Anywho, let's go into this last segment and let's tap into the topic that I wanted to address early on, which is, this disparaging finances in relationships, whether it be male or female. So in the past, guys have been very open to let's take care of a woman, paying all the bills. And now these roles are kind of being flipped and reversed. And just how do guys, how do you feel about the direction of it and dynamics of those things? Because, sometimes when women are getting this bag, we require you to do some things.
Like what?
What?
Like what?
Eat.
Okay, so I'll start off the subject.
I'm joking.
It's an interesting thing to talk about. Okay, so most of us in this room are at least 40 or over, and we were brought up to, women, you gotta take care of them. You gotta do this. You gotta do that. And now we're entering this era where it's almost the dynamic is shifting, and now it's like the women
are bringing home these bags,
home, and the dudes are at home taking care of the kids and stuff like that.
Okay.
Right?
So the reason why I brought that up, because some guys don't bring all of the same things to the table. And for one, a friend of mine brought up the fact that, she was in a relationship with a guy who wasn't making all this different money. And there were some girls who had something to say. But there was a post that I read where a woman said, I got to leave because he want me to pay half the rent. So
I think I saw that.
Yeah, and for me, when I saw that about paying half the rent, I just immediately thought, well, we don't live necessarily in that culture anymore where, most houses or homes can survive on just one income alone. I think that everybody should, be able to carry their weight.
Especially
so,
now.
With that being said, if I was making more money, I would want my mate to be able to be in other areas to step up.
Listen, if you go secure that bag, I'll be Mr. Mom. Go secure the bag.
But it's not that easy. Y'all understand that, because it's the male ego that plays on that. So if you got a woman who's telling you when to eat, sleep, and piss because she's bringing in all this money, because men tend to be, if I'm bringing this on, you need to be cooking, you got to be doing this, you got to do that.
Now,
women, we can fall into that role.
Now you get into, like I said, definition of roles.
Yeah.
And this is coming from experience and not throwing anybody under the bus. I'm just speaking my truth and what's happened to me in the past.
Comes that bus.
Roll them over.
No, I mean, seriously. As a young man, and Alfie, Reg, Serge, if I'm wrong, please correct me. We are taught that, you are the head of the household. You do what you need to do to take care of your household.
Absolutely.
And, you get some people in this day and age where the roles have somewhat been reversed, where females are out there, like you said, securing the bag, making their money, doing their thing, and then they enter into a relationship, and then when it comes to the level of finances that are brought into the house, the female might bring more into the house than what the man does. The female at that particular point in time, and like I said, my personal experience, you feel that now you are the end all be all because of how much money you bring into the house. I don't care, and this isn't to disrespect you as my wife. You can bring in however much money you want. That does not define what you bring in. Well, your paycheck versus my paycheck does not define my manhood. I'm going to be a man at the end of the day. And you can bring home 6 figures versus me bringing home minimum wage. My opinion is still going to be heard. And there are households these days where a female dominates the income. And it's like, hey, when I say this is what happens. And some guys are comfortable enough to say, okay, babe, where that happens, I don't know. I don't care to know it, and I don't want to know it. Nope. But where we reside,
where the money
resides, no, it don't reside there. So, I mean, it's the things that we've been taught, as we just stated, this 40 and over crew that we're a part of, what this younger generation is now bringing to the table, I mean, it's totally different.
Is it one of those things that I think when we were brought up, other gentlemen, is this something like it was written in the Bible or whatever it was? That
might as well have been,
right? And that's the feeling that I had even growing up is like, this is how it is because it's said in this book. You have to be the man of the house, and the woman has to fall into place, right?
I never I never got that, bro.
Right.
Yeah, maybe it's just my weird family. I never got that.
So, I mean, I'll put it to you like this. My parents separated when I was very, very young. I mean, I'm talking about 2-3 years old.
5.
And, 4. Being raised by my grandparents and my mother, my mother was always to the point to whereas, you know, you spoiled as hell. You ain't never gonna find nobody in a relationship to be. So I need to teach you how to be domesticated, clean a house, iron, cook, this, that, and the other.
So when she taught you that?
Oh,
But
don't get crazy.
Never
Get crazy.
Don't cross the line.
Because everybody who knows us knows what the deal is.
At the new address.
Yeah. So, those things as far as taking care of a house as a single man, I can do that. Right. You know, it doesn't. I don't need a female in my house to cook for me, to clean for me, to iron my clothes.
Uber.
You know what? You tripping right about now. Hey, because like I said, all these gifts and these things that she get that make me a wonderful husband.
He does. Like Solomon does a good job at buying gifts, and he can fend.
He ain't buying gifts. I'm talking about taking care of the house.
He can fend for himself. I'll give him that, and he does.
So,
does a good job with it.
But I think right now that dynamic's beginning to shift a little bit. Because of the mentality that we have, or we're being exposed to, so us as old school, we're beginning to see this out, and even in social media, even on TV and stuff like that, you're beginning to see that shift of, okay, well now she's making
women
all the
out
money.
here getting that bag.
But what does that mean? I mean, does that mean that I need to take a back seat to her because she makes more money than me? Absolutely not.
But that's something that these men need to raise their young sons up to understand.
Well, how can they raise their young sons up to understand it when they don't understand it themselves?
True.
Because you got a lot of guys out here that where we say, women are out there trying to find a man to take care of them. Guys are doing the same thing. Guys
out here doing that. And I'm not raising my daughters to take care of nobody's son like that.
I mean, you and I go out together as a couple often, and we go to places where a lot of singles mingle and what have you. Mm-hmm. We see a lot of females that we both know make decent money, if not great money,
right?
And they're out there looking for someone,
right? Because I done told a couple of my homegirls, look, you're gonna be my sugar mama when you get that next raise.
But
so I get it.
From there, I mean, they're gonna 9 times out of 10 fall for somebody or get with somebody who isn't on that level, who isn't making 6 figures like they are and what have you.
But I think that's also, too, a misconception, because although those ladies make that money or they make good money, I don't think that they're looking for the man to absolutely come in and to feel like they have to make him feel less than a man in their household. They just want him to be able to carry, his weight as well. So let's say if she pays the mortgage, okay, cool. Then he needs to be responsible for everything under the roof. That's carrying your weight.
It should be that way, but is it? I mean, it's
not.
almost like the roles of change where we coined that phrase, Captain Save a Ho.
Yeah.
It's like Captain Save a nigga these days,
Absolutely.
Captain Save a bro. That's kind of one of those things that, I mean, even when we do social media daily basis, whatever case, you see those things pop up sometimes. In those conversations, that's like, well, she's paying all. Should a man submit like a woman was submitting back in the day?
No,
I don't think so either. I don't want a man to lose who they are, because there are going to be a lot of men out here dating doctors who are garbage men. That doesn't mean that they're not bringing in their money. They're not bringing in good money. It's just that it's not her level of money. But as long as he's able to provide for that household and he's still able to be accountable as a man, I don't see why a woman wouldn't want to be with somebody like that. And
as long as you feel comfortable, at least not mooching off of the female.
Understood.
Like, I've been in a situation where I've dated someone who made twice as much as I make, and I lost
What's
my
her
job.
name so I can get at her? Let me all.
That was the ex. That was the ex. And she made twice. She's making buku money now. Made twice as much as I made. I remember I lost my job for a minute. I swear I was out of work for maybe 2 days. Mm-hmm. And I felt so guilty. I was on. This is before social media. My job became after 2 days.
Just to look for a job.
I swear, she would go to work. I was on that computer.
But she didn't put that pressure on you in that way.
No, she didn't. But I felt guilty.
That's the man, right? But
there
are young men out here that are not feeling that level of pressure. They're not feeling that they have to. They feel like, oh, okay, well, I'll go ride around. Like, I'm gonna drop her off at work. And then I'll go pick up the kids and I'll pick her up. We ain't gonna be doing that all day. Like, I'm gonna need you, if I get out of my bed, like, and I'll be honest, I was dating a guy when I was in my early 20s or whatever the case may be, and he was out there, little corner boy, ain't making much of nothing, but because he buy me all these nice little gifts or whatever, and he just tell me how beautiful I am, Jody. I was going to work. You might as well call him Jody. But he was doing all those nice things and stuff like that. And he playing daddy to my baby. And not that my daughter needed a dad, but the fact that he was there in that house, he was trying to make sure she was good too. So they had their own relationship.
Kicked down his fort.
Whatever.
Morning, scrub.
I'm so stupid. I cannot. But I had the guy who was doing that, and then he dropping me off and picking me up. I was embarrassed to even tell my dad this dude ain't even had no car to drop me off and pick me up. He was using my car. When my dad found out, my dad was like, let me holler at you, son. Let me holler at you. There's no reason why her car shouldn't be where she at when she at work. Now yours need to be where you at work. So if you work on the corner, you need to walk. You know, so my dad was just in that space. But you couldn't tell me nothing because I was all in love with that or whatever. Didn't see any potential in this guy at all whatsoever. As a matter of fact, I laughed and told Solomon a joke the other day that I was like, I was so glad when he went to jail. I hate to send a brother to jail, but when he went to jail, I was like, yes, thank you for breaking us up, Judge. What's your fault? Thank you. So it was kind of one of those things, and I think that, and it wasn't that I couldn't blame it on coming from a broken home because my home wasn't broke like that. It wasn't that kind of way. It was just that I had got so accustomed to just dating this bad boy, but. Now when I look at it and I look back, I'm thankful for that experience because once I hit after him, it was everybody else. It was hell on wheels.
It's amazing how these conversations go in circles because this all goes back to what I was saying before about the women that I knew that were 40 plus, and they were messing with guys.
But they 40. I was 20.
I know that, but that was my question. That was my point to them. When I'm trying to play Captain Save-A-Hole to them, I'm like, you ain't 20.
You do that in your 20s, right?
And I'm like, how are you letting this guy who has no job and he see you taking your car and you flying him out here and doing this?
Right.
And
because she's trying to expose him and expose him to different things. I'll be honest, even with him dropping him off and picking up, he was making sure he had dates. He would cook dinner, like he would still do those little things. But it was so out of whack.
That's the stuff that kept you hanging around.
No, it wasn't that.
It was that beat.
Yeah, that vitamin D. That just kept you around. I'm going to be honest. You know, with the face, you was a little digmatized. Didn't understand my words.
Got blown up.
But nonetheless, I'm thankful for that phase because when I dealt with people then on, I was hell on wheels. Like I was in control of what I wanted.
Like
I
you weren't going back to that again.
Absolutely
like
not.
You experienced it. I went through
I
that
got
phase.
a badge like a Girl Scout, and I was like, "Yeah, no, it's good, bruh." And then it became different.
Understand? She went from Jameis to Brady.
I'm not. I'm just gonna refuse to even comment on that.
Shout out to the coach.
All these turnovers I got.
Turnovers.
The next year, like. This is incredible. Like we still got the ball.
And look, the relationship was about as long as the relationship with Jameis. It was. It probably would have took me about 3 or 4 years though. Yeah, he had got a second contract and everything. Yeah, but never again. It didn't happen.
It's weird because you say a thing about. I've seen mostly in my life, my aunts and my mom have always been successful women. I've always seen that. It's always the dudes in my life. They've always had jobs. But they seem to be struggling with it compared to the dudes. So I always grew up with you moving with somebody, both people pay rent.
Absolutely.
That's how I grew up. But I didn't grow up where you'll find you a sugar mama, you move in with her and let her take care of it.
Right.
I know that I felt uncomfortable when my girlfriend had made more than me. I didn't want to move into her house. I did because that wasn't the game plan. Because my mom always said, don't move it with anybody unless your name was on that lease.
Right.
And the game plan we had fell through, so I had to move into her house.
Gotcha.
And so I'm already feeling comfortable with that already. Then she's making double what I'm making. Now, the good part of the stuff was she inherited the house from her parents. The rent was only $400 a month.
Right.
$400 a month.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like, here's my, if I
Here's
had
mine. Here's mine.
I was like, I got the rent. Don't worry about it. I got the mortgage.
Like you was doing something.
Yeah, I got the whole $400. You know.
That was like, let me get the water bill.
Yeah. That was the one positive about that thing.
That was the equal of let me get the water bill.
Yeah, but I get it. Where even as a guy, like, oh look, she making double what I make. I gotta do something.
Right.
And when I lost my job, dude, I swear I was up that next day.
But I think some of these women out here who are getting these bags, they want a man so bad that they taking care of him. So they're diminishing the whole idea of creating him to be anything. He just sitting back riding her coattails. So now he want to be her manager because she's saying he want to be her manager. Nah, partner, I'm going to need you to manage your own stuff first, okay? Like, I think, and that's real. Like, so we're kind of setting these guys up to be lazy in some of these relationships. We want to help, but sometimes our help can be hurtful at the end of the day.
Let's look at this, because you and I both have friends, both separately, and most of our friends that we have know us both together.
Right.
Single females whom they're looking for love. I mean, they're there. I mean, that's what they're looking for.
Right.
And they are very secure in their homes.
Absolutely.
Very secure in their jobs. As we say, they're bringing home that bag.
Right.
Wait, hold on a second.
I'm a defer to Yetta.
So what kind of list do her friends have?
That's what I'm trying to get at.
They have a checklist.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
And they do. And many of them do have their own list, and I respect them for it. But sometimes when they're
6'2"
dating,
and above, no flaws in their skin,
he is
making
perfect.
6 figures.
Solomon's lying.
Drive a Bentley,
Solomon.
40 years old and no kids.
Solomon,
Never
stop
been married
lying.
before.
Stop lying.
Who checks those boxes?
Solomon, first off, my friends are realistic, and you know that. I don't even hang out with those kind of broads. Don't get it twisted.
Okay.
So if you know me, the fruit that I bear, my friends are similar in mindset, in the sense of what they expect. I always tell them, you teach a person how to treat you. So none of them are going to let you just play them for fools. Like, okay, because at this point, all of them are over 40 years old or 35 and older. For the most part, majority of them are. They've been through the whole, they've been married, they either had kids, whatever the case may be. But they're not out here looking for no guys not to have no kids. Because I be questioning the fact if he 35 and I'm like, so how old he been married before? What, did he not just want any? His pull-out game real strong? What? So I just...
Pause. Hold on.
Sorry.
You married to somebody who was 35.
And I questioned you.
Who was married previously.
Okay,
who had no kids.
Why is it an issue?
To me, like, if they don't have any kids,
Yeah.
I don't. So somebody ain't seen no potential in you that they wanted to recreate or procreate with you to have.
Maybe they don't want to have kids.
Maybe you didn't, and that may be the case. You look, don't make me put my beams over there on you.
I don't have kids.
So you have no kids. You've never been married.
No, never been married.
Have you ever had the desire to be married?
Yes.
Oh, you talking to him?
Both of y'all. Anybody can.
Go ahead, Alfie. That's you.
Alfie, did you want kids?
You know he. Yes, I do want kids at some point down the road because we have to. I guess in my head, it's you want to keep the family going.
Oh, I'm gonna need y'all to lose it because Solomon got a girl because he ain't getting no more. Now, if he got a 14-year-old somewhere out there, I'm gonna be the best stepmom ever. But he not living no more.
Is that a taboo now for us? I mean, being 35, 40, no kids.
Hey,
It's
Alfie,
rare. It's rare.
It is.
It's rare.
It's an X against you, dog.
And a good
believe me,
And
because
women
it's something I had to deal with it.
You know what?
I would think it would be a plus, but maybe
It's
I'm saying
not necessarily. No, because I want to know. Well, what were you dealing with
to me,
before?
as a guy, when I was dating, I would go out and I know it was a long shot to find someone that's my age or 10 years younger, and that if they had kids, the kid was under a certain age.
You was looking for a unicorn.
Yeah, that was.
Absolutely.
And the thing is,
mythical creature.
Yeah, and the fact Yetta's daughter is going on 12 years old. I thought I would never date anyone that had a kid that old. I want someone to have a kid that was at least 16 or 17.
Really?
That way they got the car, they can leave the house, and we can spend time.
So,
alone.
But listen, so when I was dating, because I knew I had a kid, I didn't want to date a guy who had more kids than me. And if he had let's say he had 2 or 3 kids, they better be from the same person, because I didn't want to deal with everybody baby mama, because everybody baby mama wasn't cool like me. Didn't want the baby daddy no more, for real, like for real deal. Did not want him. So it wasn't, everybody wasn't like me. So I wasn't out here trying to date guys. So when they didn't have a kid, I was like, oh, okay, come on, hey daddy, what's up? Got to turn it up a little notch. Let's see.
No, but
if at 30 years old and he did not have any, or he had never been married, I was like, yo, what is going on?
See,
but go back to Alfie's
Where
point.
was he at?
Go back to Alfie's point, and I'm going to stick by his point because I had to deal with it personally. Everything that you think that would be a positive in your column when trying to find a female actually turns out to be a negative because of what you said. Think about it. You just said if he doesn't have a child by the age of 30,
like what's
was going on? What's the problem?
But it didn't stop me from getting to know him.
I'm thinking,
that didn't stop me from getting to know him. I just wanted to understand, like, what was the whole dynamic? Why didn't you have kids? And that was something I asked, because at the end of the day, when I was 30 years old and we were dating, I was like, I possibly want another kid.
What if he said, I can't have kids?
And I would have accepted that, and I would have been fine with that. If that's the case, if that's the same thing, at least she's trying to figure out what it is. But it's not like they're all saying, "Nah, I don't want to talk to him because he don't have no kids." No, go on a date, find out, have a conversation with a person, get to know who they are, or what makes them work, or get to figure that stuff out. Reggie, why your eyes went that way? What's the problem?
Because the mindset is totally different. Yeah. No, seriously, the mindset is totally different. And we keeping it real here. This is me and you talking like we always do. I told you personally, from the time that we met and started dating, everything was here on this level. As far as if we went out separately and what have you, the interest I would garner from other females being the exact same person would be on this level. Once we got married and I started wearing this ring, that interest went here.
But you was trying to shoot the club for a long time. You know I had good fruit, baby. This ring here.
Shoot the club.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, so from a female's perspective, why would you think that, why would the guy that isn't married, that has no kids, has a job,
because those women, so listen, those women are looking for like how you were saying, how guys get stuff out of the deal, who are messing with women who are already taken. They're doing the same thing. They don't got to deal with you from 9 to 5. They don't really care. Oh, how they can be your pillow.
No, we're not talking about them. We're talking about the ones who are looking for a relationship.
If they're looking for a relationship, they're not really looking for you just because you married. You taken. They
no,
want
I'm not,
somebody
no,
in
I'm
that
saying
regard.
the ones that show the interest, they seem to be more interested once you are involved with someone, either
maybe
dating,
they didn't know your potential. They didn't know your potential. They didn't take the time to see.
So that's the excuse we're using?
And not even that. For example, I'll be honest, at certain ages and certain spaces in my life, there are some women, or even just in general, like you had this idea of what you want. And then when those things aren't met by a certain age group, you start being like, okay, well, is it really ultimately important? Does that really make him such and such?
Like 6'2".
Light skin with with good hair. Like it's just stupid stuff, like superficial stuff. For real.
His name ain't Aubrey. I can't date him.
Right. So it's stupid superficial stuff that we don't even like. Oh, he got a granddaddy name. His name's Solomon. Look.
Damn.
So
that's fired.
So. When you're younger, you just don't think about all of those things. But then you have to get into a space. Well, what does he bring to the table? How is he treating
laying it
you?
Down.
Yeah, I might have to get his social security check. Let me go ahead and holler at that. Yeah, let me make sure his little blue pills all together. We're going to separate them for you at night.
Hey, it ain't no blue pill. It's Royal Honey. You know what's up.
Oh, my gosh. Dude, let's not do that.
Hey, if y'all don't know what Royal Honey is, y'all don't know what Royal Honey is.
I never heard of it. I'm going to Google.
Man, Google it. Go YouTube it and watch the guy's reaction to Royal Honey.
That's all I'm going to say. Hey,
it's not even FDA approved.
Fellas, you going to call me up. You going to DM me. You going to say, hey, Saul, I appreciate that. Royal Honey.
And you supposed to you take it, you drink it. You don't.
You ain't drink it. You
squeeze it out. It's a packet of honey.
Hey,
but we'll talk about that later.
Gas station packets?
No.
You can possibly get it.
But hey, listen. Royal Honey, YouTube it. Do whatever you gotta do. Get you a
when I YouTubed it, I hollered when I seen the guy who described it.
I'll put it to you like this. After y'all try Royal Honey, you're gonna be like, hey, Saul's the new Derrick Jackson.
And the only difference is his wife don't have no bonnet and she ain't sitting next to him. He could be Derrick Jackson all by himself. He'll be like freaking Patti LaBelle on his own. That's what you're gonna be.
No, but I guess that's what it's beginning to feel like now, as opposed to maybe 5-10.
But what are you dating realistic? Like, are you dating, like, so for example, there are some women who.
He's about to chime in on this one.
He's not dating at all, because dating requires you to leave the house.
It's a pandemic, man.
No, man. I'm kidding. No, man. You gotta leave the house.
I haven't dated in a long time.
So you're running into issues because you're either dating with a misconception or an idea of what you like, and you don't know unless you get out here for real.
I think you have a Reggie issue, and I'm gonna tell you what that is.
What's the Reggie issue?
But you've got it's 10 times worse than what I have.
Let's say 10 times worse.
Yeah, 10 times worse. The thing is, you're a very funny guy, attractive dude. But I think when I used to do this shit back in the day, I think you hop in too quick with everything.
Oh wow! Okay.
Like you're like, you know what? I'm shy. You know what? Here's my chance. I'm gonna go in. And when you go in, you go all in, and they go like, whoa, bro, slow down.
Yeah.
And just look, don't even call it a date. Hey, I'm going to be over at Coyote Ugly. I'm going to be at Applebee's. You want to meet me over there for lunch? You want to meet me here for coffee? Don't even call it a date. Just sit, talk, chit chat, do it again. Yeah. Then from there,
I do like Solomon. Be the best dressed fella in the room. Invite her out for the drinks. And my husband always say it's an opportunity.
It's absolutely.
It's
like a job.
It's like a opportunity.
Hey, it's like a job interview. It's like this, man. I'll be honest with you. At some point in time, you have to figure out what it is that makes you appealing to somebody else. I tell my wife
this. And also what works for you.
Right. And I tell my wife this. I told female friends this and what have you. You have to be self-aware. Yeah. I'm going to tell you, I'm no Denzel, no Idris Elba, no Morris Chestnut, and what have you.
Damn.
So, no, at that point...
Wait a minute. Because you can't be all like, you can.
Nope, you're not.
No. So, at that point in time, I got to find out what's going to have something, put me in a limelight that's going to be like, hey, something about that guy right there. So when I go out and what have you in public appearances and what have you,
so when you
I want to make sure that when I do.
Oh, okay.
I want to make sure that I'm dressed, because I'm like, that's a sharp looking outfit.
I used to do that.
I used to do that. I'm like, damn.
So that'll garner the attention there. I feel that if it's not the physical presence that is going to draw their attention at first, I need to do something that's going to spark a conversation.
Old man told me this.
Once I start talking, I believe that my personality will then show and what have you, and then there will be some interest.
Old man told me this a long time ago. I don't follow it. Like
got you, didn't I?
Because I got somebody now. But old man told me this. Women, no matter what age, I was like, 9 years old getting a haircut in West Tampa. Cut me a, boy, I'm going to tell you something. Two things women going to look at. They're going to look at your hair.
And your shoes.
Hair and your shoes. What they going to look at.
And the funny thing is, my mom wasn't having those conversations. Talking about hair and shoes.
And as I got older, I'm having female friends, they told me he's right, hair and shoes, but also they look at the accessories. Not saying you got to be expensive, but hey, let's see what he has. No, he has a watch on.
See, let me explain something. That's the same stuff that got Solomon in his own trouble, because when I look at stuff that you do and you purchase and all these other things, when it was time for him to purchase me a ring, I was like, it better look like it's the size of your rims on your car, because if you can spend all this lavish money on other stuff, I better be able to see that ring when you show it to me. I better have to look down, put on no glasses. That's just a level of energy. You know what I'm saying? So all of these same things, you're creating these things in her mind the same way. So don't get me wrong. My mom never ever told us, oh, he had to be the cutest guy or he had to be this and that. But she was like, you got to like the people that like you and how they treat you. Because 9 times out of the 10, the people that it's not necessary. Come on, everybody who like you, right? She ain't saying go like everybody. Stop. Let's cut it out. But sometimes even dating, women have real unrealistic ideas of what they want of men.
Yeah, we know.
So while you thinking you want Idris Elba, but you out here looking like whatever the girl Keisha who Pookie was messing with on New Jack City.
I went to King High School.
She was prom queen. She was prom queen at that.
Wasn't that you? Was she prom queen at King High
School? Whatever. So nonetheless,
hold on, but
when you're dating,
inside joke on that prom king of King High School. What? That was Halle Berry.
Yeah, right.
So,
but the thing about it, but my thing was, Halle Berry y'all went like, oh God, until y'all seen it in Boomerang.
No, one Boomerang.
Or when you caught it.
Strictly Business.
The fact is, you weren't looking at her when she was the crackhead.
That's slow mo.
She wasn't in Jungle Fever. You weren't looking at her when she was. So she wasn't appealing until she became in this beautiful role. But sometimes that's how you have to date.
Yeah.
You may have to date that person that doesn't look all the looks that you think, but when you dress them up, like they say about ugly babies, when people have ugly kids, you tend to dress them up a lot better than everybody else, because you don't want the first thing somebody come out their mouth with, your little baby look a little funny.
Also, as far as dating goes, also as far as dating goes, is on meeting people, I think you should go to an environment where you're comfortable with something that you like, because you'll meet someone there that's the same interest and conversation. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I say. Hey, I've been telling this guy this for years.
Like for example,
so
I can't get him out the house.
No. Like for example, I can't stand. I'll go if a group of men is there, but South Tampa Hyde Park area.
Yeah.
I'll go with a group for a birthday party or something, but I can't stand that area. I don't feel comfortable in that area. I feel more comfortable like in the Ybor area or going to someplace. It's something not that talent,
high end,
whatever. Yeah, the high end. That's not my environment. Someplace where I feel comfortable, or if I'm going to a music event.
Gotcha.
ODS on Sunday nights. Somewhere where you feel comfortable, your event, you can have a conversation. Oh, I love the DJ. I love that music, and everyone's dressing the same way.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So or if there's a Comic-Con convention, hey, go to Comic-Con. Find some chick that does cosplay. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
No,
but I understand.
What he's saying is facts because I even tell Shannon this all the time. You know, about 2 years ago, I got into smoking cigars and what have you.
Yeah.
And there's a place here in Tampa where supposedly the upscale go to smoke cigars by International Mall, Davidoff.
I haven't been there. I've heard about it. I haven't been
so,
there.
It's a club now, though.
The thing about it is when I first started going there,
cool kids.
It's like, hey, you know, this is just if you're smoking cigars, it's strictly for this type and what have you. Now, because they knew a lot of guys are going to be in there,
them
all
ladies
of a sudden,
walk in there,
females
don't even
there.
smoke.
You go in there on a Friday night, you'll see 100 females who haven't even touched a cigar in their life. They're there because they know guys are there,
right?
And they're trying to pick up a guy.
Right.
On the flip side of that, now it gets out. Hey man, where all the females at on Friday nights? Or they at Davidoff. Now you got
stop telling everybody where I spot at, but we don't go on Friday.
Too late now.
Exactly.
Too late. It's blown
up. Really
Davidoff on Friday nights.
Anyway.
Hey, holla at your boy.
Not my
holla
scene.
my girl Casey. It's my girl.
I'm too lazy to be in the crib.
And you know what? I gotta admit that
Even if you go, no matter if you go in the daytime, they're there. It's really it's a nice. To me, it kind of set the tone for when we went to different places. But it gives you the atmosphere is more social. People are. Solomon told me the rule of cigars is that you can go anywhere and have a conversation.
You should be able to go to any cigar
And you
lounge in the
absolutely
country and
can.
sit down next to anybody and a conversation just jump
You
off.
can, and they don't look. They're not looking at you.
They're
like,
not judging
okay.
you. The bond is what you have in your hand.
Absolutely.
That's it.
maybe I should pick that up.
No, what it is you
I
got
need to get out of the house.
You got to stop going.
That's rule
and
one, get
looking
out of the
for
house.
something. You can't go to a spot expecting, oh, I'm going to find a girl here. No, you go to a place like he said that you're happy that you like to go to.
Yeah, your
and
your
they're gonna
spot.
find
Like you go there, that's your spot outside the house.
Yeah.
Your spot. Go chill.
And
you know?
Alfie, let me help you understand. Women like geeky. They do. They like the nerdy, intelligent type. Don't get it twisted. So just
here's
understand.
the terrible thing about
Just
me is like he's right. I've been spending so much time at home, and the only other outlet I've had is the station.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
So I haven't been out in a long time.
So change it.
Absolutely.
The only person that can change it is you.
Look at my man,
That's
Serge.
it.
He pimping.
Look
Give
at that
him
Derek
game.
Jackson self-help.
No, but this is. I've been telling
he's-
him this
he's right.
because
He's right, though.
it's like you don't want your brother to be alone.
I feel
Nobody
like
does.
So you alone or what?
No, he's not.
Oh, okay. Never mind. We done. Okay, back to
But no, he's right though, because I spend the majority of my time at home. I work at home.
hey, we done had people like, yo, who's your
Who's your
producer?
producer? Yeah, they hear his voice.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
I hooked you up one time,
so
sir.
I'm good. Mean is, are you
Or somebody
taking?
hook me up.
I hooked you up, Serge.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
good. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Say
okay.
that.
Okay.
Give me some props, Serge.
Say
I think right now it's even with this whole COVID-19 thing, people have been really at home. And I obviously I'm at home because I play a lot of games and stuff like that, and I do want to go out and do stuff. It's just that I think in the past, like when going out and doing stuff and like get that negativity, kind of keeps me at home.
Right.
Gotcha.
So-
but women
But
are
it's
being
also a
told
lot
no
easier to stay
stuff.
home and play video games.
Yeah, exactly. It's
'Cause
easier
it's
to stay
constant.
home.
So you got
But you got to get out of your box, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
you gotta get out
A
the box.
lot of times we limit the things that we have access to because we're not comfortable to other things. And then when you step outside of your box a little bit and understand what, man, I grew up in a neighborhood where most of the people who live on that block haven't been outside of that 3-block radius. If I took them to Carrollwood, they wouldn't even know how to act.
They wouldn't even know how to
And
get
that's
In
kinda
home.
the same city.
Don't know how to get home.
And I don't know where to, and it's a phrase for me personally. I'll admit I don't know where to go from this point because like you're like, okay, go out. Well, go where?
It's
go
so much stuff.
anywhere.
No, it depends.
Pick a
what you
spot
wanna do.
and just go.
No, what you want to do. That's the whole thing. Like, okay, you and like me personally, I'm at an age now. Again, I'm with Yetta, but I'm at an age where I like.
My boy shot at Yetta.
Yeah, I know,
Listen
right?
to him. Okay, Derek Jackson. You want to tell us? I
mentioned her name earlier.
But I'm not saying that. I'm applauding you because my thing is, what did I say about Derek Jackson? His wife,
he never said nothing about
nothing about
her, yeah.
her. Y'all know when y'all in a
But
relationship.
I'm saying before me, yes, sir.
I'm single.
But the thing is,
Camera.
before we started dating, I turned into a sports bar guy. I'm the put my shorts on at the sports bar. TV sets here. I got my phone. I haven't got my headphones on. I'm flipping through social media.
But look, you look so unapproachable doing that, though. No one was trying to approach you.
I had people that we built up a little family.
Got you. Okay.
You know, so I'm there like, hey, what's up, dog? And we was there in the gym.
Gotcha.
It depends where you want to go and have a good time.
Gotcha.
And so, but that became my sports bar, or not even sports bar. It'd be a sports bar restaurant. So a patio outside, chill. As long as the game's on and there's some music playing.
To be honest, there's a lot of places to be.
You could go to Parks and Rec.
You can go to Amateur Works. Parks and Rec do the same thing. Exactly. So it's all about getting out there. So you can't say you want to date if you're not doing anything to date.
That's true. Like I said, I wouldn't know where to begin.
That's what I said.
Honestly.
Park and Rec. Start there. You go there. They got the club vibe. They got the drinks.
Yeah,
they got
and
people
tell your
playing
brother to
video
come with
games.
you. Like my sister used to be my sidekick all the time. Like me and my sister, his brother. That's what I'm saying. Tell your brother, hey,
I'm always down to go.
So,
but like I said, hey, I can't force somebody to be out.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm always down to go. And I got my wheels back.
Yeah, you go and
yeah, that's right. He's free now.
I can drive now. What?
As soon as you get out, you go on a mission. As soon as you get out, you like, hey, you my brother, but I gotta go. I gotta dip.
No, I'm good. I hang out. That's what, because I realized all you gotta do, bro. This thing is real simple. If you're sitting there being happy, you're gonna attract people.
People.
Just like I was telling you about the club game. When you go to the club game, you don't stand in the crowd. You stand off to the side. Because then what happens is the girls that are interested and want to see who you are, they're gonna come around.
They'll come and do that.
And then they'll do
and
that.
all you gotta do a lot of times is make friends with one girl,
or
she's gonna bring them around.
Or the game before he was in a relationship. Say this real quick. Mike Dove, well, his thing was the bar.
Yeah,
his thing was I run the bar. So he was the big curly guy at the bar. He big friends
and
with
be friends with
the
all
bartender.
the women, all the ladies, everybody. And
he's cool with the bartender. The bartender.
Okay, well, I don't want to give Mike no bad.
Yeah, no, I'm cool. He keep with the bar, no matter who the bartender is, no matter what bar it is. He go in, hey, what's going on? He give a couple of big tips. Then he got the bar for the whole night.
Everybody.
Then all of a sudden,
absolutely,
people start coming up.
You got to go through Mike.
You got to go through Mike to get your drinks.
Gotcha.
You start getting phone numbers like, hey, I can't get my drink. Baby girl, I got you.
Gotcha.
All of a sudden, you got the phone numbers.
Absolutely.
Shout out Mike Dove.
You don't wait for a drink. That's what I like too.
Yeah.
Is when you just walk up. They got a line of people.
But there are women do the same
boom.
thing. I had a homeboy. He and I were really good friends. We went to school, elementary school, high school, and in college we had our days set to each other, to the same thing. And me and him cool. Huh?
You went to Greco?
Yeah, I went to Greco, but he didn't go to Greco with me. We split up for the middle school, like for 8th and 9th grade, but we were back at school together by high school and then for college, and we would set our college schedule for the same day. So he knew I was cool with all the girls, and so he'd be like, "Hey, yo, who's your friend?" So it was like that, and vice versa. So I didn't have no problems. Like, man, she in my chemistry class, yo, whatever. But because he and I was so cool, they would trust me and my word on it. So it's no different now. And in the real world, when you get to a certain space and you know those people, that's exactly what's happening. They're just telling you exactly. So
what
happened?
What happened?
LaMarcus Aldridge
just signed to the Nets.
The Nets?
Because the Nets,
wow.
It's over.
The super team.
It's over.
Well, let's wrap this up.
I want to bring us up on a Cover 2 Conversations, but are the Nets the team to beat right now?
Man.
With LaMarcus Aldridge, yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Different podcast. My bad.
Sorry. I had to.
5 to 7 on Full House Radio.
So.
No, but.
Park and Rec, Al. Start there.
Absolutely.
So any single females out there that have been listening to the podcast and out there and have those boxes they need checked, I got my boy Alfie over here. Y'all hit us up and we'll put y'all in contact. But let's do this thing. Let's make sure we get it right. No, but for my co-host Shannon Davis, my name is Solomon Davis. We appreciate y'all tuning in to His, Hers, and Ours. And
Reginald Gray.
We will see y'all next week.
Thank y'all so much for joining. Love y'all.